doing?
Much better, thanks. How are you two doing?
We're doing great. How was your holidays?
It went well. While I was battling the cold, I was able to get more stuff done and do some more research for this. How was yours?
It was epic, Ralph. Thank you for the gifts that you gave us.
You got it.
The Jaguars knew that you weren't feeling well for a while. That's why Brittany had to fill in for you for your video about your second armor painting. And she did a pretty good job of it too.
Oh yeah, she did. And you girls did an epic job with your holiday special and the newest episode of the reboot. Way to go, ladies.
Thanks, Ralph. You and the rest of the staff of Ralph J Images did an epic job on your holiday special as well. And Jaguars. You'll find that video on the Ralph Jag channel of YouTube. The link is in the description section of this video.
Yeah, it was real nice taking a look back at the year 2014. It was an epic year. But now it's 2015 and it's time to look forward.
That's right. Jaguars. Welcome to another epic installment of Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta. Review. Brought to you by Ralph J Images. And as some of you may know, we are using this mini review series to review the VH1 reality TV series, Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta. How's that, Ralph?
That's very good, Rocky. Very good. In part 1, we discussed and covered the background of Benzino and discussed the events leading up to him ending up on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. You are now watching part 2 of our coverage of Benzino versus Stevie J. Now, I hope all of the Jaguars, fans of Love and Hip Hop, and reality TV show fans understand what we're trying to do here. You see, we are going to discuss the feud/beef of Benzino and Stevie J, and we're definitely going to talk about what happened at the reunion of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta for the 3rd season. I saw that fight, and it was crazy for sure. But first, I want to discuss the background info of all who are involved, so that we can all get a good understanding of what's really going on. I have done the research and I have done an awful lot of digging for this.
You always do digging for subjects, Ralph. Yeah, you're very epic. With research.
Thanks. Now, let's talk about Stevie J and his world. His crazy, twisted world. Stevie J. What are we going to do with this guy? This good guy? How about we start at the beginning?
There's actually a beginning? There's always a beginning, Cece.
Surprisingly, yeah, there's actually a beginning to this complex and crazy story. Thanks to Google and Yahoo.com, I've been able to get some info on our resident good guy. Stevie J's real name is Stephen Jordan. He's an American musician, singer, record producer, and songwriter. He was born in Buffalo, New York, United States, and his career originated in Atlanta, Georgia. Stevie J was the leader of the Bad Boy Entertainment Hitmen roster of in-house producers and writers during the 90s. He worked often with the label's owner, Sean Puffy Combs, now known as Diddy, producing on massive Bad Boy albums and catalog, such as the debut of R&B quartet 112. Stevie produced their lead single, Only You, featuring Notorious B.I.G., and he also produced 80% of 112's debut album, Nobody, and Last Day, just to name a few of Biggie's classics. He also produced the highly successful tribute single by Puff Daddy, I'll Be Missing You. Stevie went on to win a Grammy Award for the production on the Puff Daddy and the Family album. Outside of his association with Bad Boy, he has also produced for artists including Mariah Carey, with whom he was nominated for a Grammy Award for the contribution on her album Butterfly in 1997. From the album, he produced songs like Honey, the album's lead single, Breakdown, featuring Bone Thugs in Harmony, Baby Doll, and for Carey's number ones in 1998, I Still Believe, and theme from Mahogany, Do You Know Where You're Going to Go. He also worked with Beyonce Knowles on her song Summertime, Jay-Z on songs like Ride or Die and Lucky Me, Lil Wayne, Deborah Cox, Tamia, Tevin Campbell, and co-writing Eve's Blow Your Mind. Stevie J worked on and produced an awful lot of hit hip-hop albums like Soul for Real, Where Do We Go, Love You So, from the album For Life, Faith Evans, I Just Can't, from High School High original soundtrack, Babyface, This Is For the Lover in You, Puffy Combs remix, Mariah Carey, Breakdown, Honey, Baby Doll, from the album Butterfly, Simon Hines, Yeah Yeah Yeah, Stevie J remix, Sting and the Police, Roxanne, 97, and that was one of my personal favorites right there. I saw the video and liked it. LL Cool J, Don't Be Late, Don't Come Too Soon, from the album Phenomenal, Jay-Z, Ride or Die, from the album Volume 2, Hard Knock Life, R. Kelly, Spending Money, from the album R, Mariah Carey, I Still Believe, Stevie J remix, Tyrese and Heavy D, Criminal Mind, from Blue Streak original soundtrack, Beyonce, Summertime, and Day 26, Forever in a Day. That's just some of the stuff that Stevie J produced.
That's a lot of stuff, Ralph.
Oh yeah, Stevie J is big time.
those accomplishments, people would think that Stevie J was really rich, or as they would say in hip-hop, balling.
Yeah, they would assume that. Stevie J probably wouldn't have money problems if he didn't get about 5 ladies pregnant.
5? He got 5 ladies pregnant?
Well, it's 6 now. It's been recently reported on the internet and YouTube that Jocelyn is now pregnant with Stevie J's baby. And if you're a die-hard fan of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, you know that this is Jocelyn's 2nd time being pregnant with Stevie J's baby.
I also did some checking on the internet, Ralph. People are saying that Stevie and Jocelyn are lying about their pregnancy to get ratings for the show.
I know. Stevie and Jocelyn are being accused of all kinds of stuff. People are saying this, people are saying that. It's really crazy, Rocky. We're going to get to that in a few moments. I want to start by diving into Stevie J's many relationships. And oh yeah, Stevie gets around a lot, if you know what I mean. In fact, he has a reputation for cheating on every woman he's been with. Let's start with the popular, well-accomplished hip-hop star Eve. I remember watching VH1's Behind the Music when it did the documentary on Eve. In that episode, it talked about her relationship with Stevie J. They dated for a good while. Eve even credits Stevie J as her first love. But it didn't take too long before she learned that the producer was cheating on her with several women, one of them possibly being Mimi, since it's been confirmed that Mimi has been in Stevie J's life for at least 15 years. While Eve and Stevie J dated, they also made a sex tape. Unfortunately for Eve, the Stevie J and Eve sex tape was stolen and got in the wrong hands, and Eve was blackmailed by an unknown person for a large amount of money. And since Eve didn't comply with the blackmailer, the tape hit the internet, causing quite an embarrassment.
For Eve?
Oh yeah, even back then, the ramifications of sex tapes were always much harder on the females. That sex tape really hurt Eve's reputation, but she was able to bounce back from it eventually.
Did the sex tape of Eve and Stevie J doom their relationship?
Yup, that and the cheating by Stevie J. All of that was apparently too much for Eve to handle.
On YouTube, I watched Jocelyn do an interview with Vlad TV. They asked her about Eve and Stevie's sex tape. And Jocelyn actually enjoyed it.
I don't find that surprising. Jocelyn even said that she wanted to take part in it. I saw that interview that she did with Vlad TV.
Stevie J's and Jocelyn's relationship was kind of wild and exotic. Still is. They used to have threesomes with a girl that was Jocelyn's friend. Various girls used to join Stevie and Jocelyn when they had sex. They used to be into that kind of stuff. So yeah, Jocelyn did like this sex tape of Eve and Stevie J. I never saw it, by the way. I just heard about the sex tape of Eve and Stevie.
So, when did Mimi Faust come into the picture?
Oh, Mimi's been in the picture for quite a long time. Since day one, actually. Remember, Mimi has known Stevie J for 15 plus years, and their relationship has been on and off way before Love and Hip Hop Atlanta premiered in 2002. Stevie does have a daughter with Mimi, Eva, and as the show began, Stevie and Mimi were working to improve their relationship.
Because Stevie had been unfaithful years prior to the show?
Was it because of their daughter that Mimi stayed with Stevie?
No. I don't think it was just because of their daughter that Mimi stayed with Stevie. I believe that Mimi did love Stevie, but of course she's not going to admit that now.
When Jocelyn Hernandez entered the picture, was that the final straw?
Oh yeah. And also the way that Stevie J was acting was the definite final straw for Mimi. Stevie J and Jocelyn met in a strip club where Jocelyn was doing her job as an exotic dancer.
Stripper. She was a stripper. Ralph.
Yes, Jocelyn was stripping there. That's how she started, just like Eve did. And the same way that Mace helped Eve, Stevie J helped Jocelyn. Jocelyn had it rough growing up. She had been stripping since she was 16 years old. From what I understand, Stevie J got Jocelyn out of the strip club and helped her pursue her career as a hip-hop rapper. Jocelyn Hernandez is signed to Stevie J, period. Stevie is Jocelyn's manager and producer rolled into one. Stevie was and is the head guy in charge of all of Jocelyn's SHIT. What Jocelyn worked on and got a profit on, Stevie was to get a percentage of it, 30% I believe. And while Stevie J was dating Mimi, he was also having sex with Jocelyn. And we saw all of this on the first and then second seasons of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta.
Yeah. Stevie and Mimi's relationship just exploded in season 1 because of Jocelyn. And we all know that. It was Carly Red that told Mimi about what was going on between Stevie and Jocelyn. But the SHIT really hit the fan when Jocelyn got pregnant by Stevie J.
I would say more like imploded. From there, Stevie J and Mimi's relationship began tumbling down. And you want to talk about the SHIT hitting the fan? OMG. The SHIT really hit the fan, and it hit hard. And I do mean hard. Jocelyn and Mimi were really swinging at each other, as well as Stevie. Mimi really went off on Stevie. And as I was watching this on TV, I'm just thinking, OMG. I have seen lots of reality shows, and I've seen lots of people get cussed out. But I have never, ever seen anyone get cussed out like this before. Damn.
Well, Mimi was really upset.
Oh yeah, I kind of got that notion.
Even from there, Mimi still wanted to try to make things work with Stevie. They even went to Dr. Jeffrey for couples counseling, hoping to fix their relationship.
Yeah, Dr. Jeffrey, the famous TV counselor.
Hey, Dr. Jeffrey is a real good on TV. I've seen him help a number of people and couples. And while Stevie and Mimi was seeing Dr. Jeffrey to help mend their relationship, it was Stevie J's idea to have Jocelyn Hernandez join the therapy session of Stevie and Mimi.
And we all saw how well that worked out. Jocelyn actually punched out Stevie J in front of Dr. Jeffrey.
Jocelyn had gotten pissed off because Mimi had moved into the house with Stevie after Jocelyn had sex with Stevie. When Mimi brought this up at the session, that is when Jocelyn went crazy and started swinging on Stevie physically.
The guards had a real hard time pulling Jocelyn off of Stevie. That was crazy.
Who goes to couples counseling and brings his girlfriend and side chick with him? That's asinine.
Hey, this is Stevie J we're talking about here.
And it made for great television too.
So, as the first season of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta ended, Mimi decided that she had enough. Between Stevie's cheating on her with Jocelyn and him acting like an overhyped up tool, Mimi was done and she wanted to move on without Stevie J. And at the reunion of the first season of this show, both Mimi and Jocelyn came down on Stevie. And when the second season of this show rolled around, Stevie and Mimi tried again to make it work for the sake of their daughter's sake. But once again, since Jocelyn's in the picture, more shit hit the fan, and everything got really effed up again. That first episode of the second season was hell crazy. Like I just said, Mimi and Stevie were actually trying. But of course, they weren't going full speed like before. But they were coming to an understanding. But then Jocelyn showed up at the house and it was Armageddon. Actually, it was more like apocalypse. Dark Side's apocalypse. Mimi and Jocelyn went at it, scrapping at each other in front of Stevie J.
I remember that. Mimi went off on Jocelyn. And after Jocelyn left, Mimi tore Stevie a new ASSO. Threw water on him and then some.
And that is when Mimi decided to move on to someone else.
And we're going to discuss the rest of Mimi's story and situation in a separate installment of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta Review, because there's a lot more story to tell there.
Everyone's story on this show seems to be very broad.
Welcome to Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, Cece.
This is EA.
During season 2, with Mimi moving on to something else and someone else, the relationship of Jocelyn and Stevie was on and off.
Like always with Stevie J.
Don't I know it? Stevie J and Jocelyn would constantly butt heads over their business relationship and their personal relationship. Jocelyn was really intent and focused on her career. She would constantly get on Stevie's case so he could get her that hit single that she so badly wanted. It took a little struggle. Heck, it took a lot of struggle, but Stevie made it happen. He got Jocelyn signed to a major record label, and she was scheduled to shoot 2 videos for her 2 hit singles.
Very soon, Jocelyn was being called the Puerto Rican princess.
Actually, Jocelyn called herself the Puerto Rican princess.
During their on-off relationship, there were times when Jocelyn was starting to lose her patience with Stevie J. So she told him, either get me my hit single or give me my contract.
We all saw that, Ralph. When they argued, Stevie told Jocelyn that he actually owned her.
The last time I checked, this isn't slavery. You can't tell someone that you own them. We saw Jocelyn's and Stevie's relationship play out on the show, but there was stuff happening off the show that would cause friction between the two.
I remember Jocelyn breaking down and being hurt and crying because of the way that Stevie J was treating her. She complained that Stevie J would constantly cheat on her. In fact, I watched more of Jocelyn's interviews with Vlad TV on YouTube. Jocelyn has told stories about how she would track Stevie J down to hotel rooms, kick down the door, and bust in on Stevie having sex with other girls.
I heard that Jocelyn would cheat on Stevie J too.
They would cheat on each other, Cece. Like Benzino said, Stevie and Jocelyn's relationship is like a pimp-hole love affair. Also, Stevie and Jocelyn got together based on cheating. Stevie used Jocelyn to cheat on Mimi. And she's surprised by that? I just feel like Jocelyn should have expected that.
Yeah. Jocelyn knew what she was getting into. Stevie J be hurting these girls. Besides, Jocelyn has been having sex with other guys too.
And about them butting heads, OMG. Thanks to the research that I have done, I hear that Jocelyn and Stevie's fights were bad. Jocelyn would beat on Stevie constantly and even pointed a gun at him.
Really? She pointed a gun at him?
That's what Benzino said in an interview with Vlad TV on YouTube. There's even a rumor saying that Jocelyn even ripped Stevie J's ear off. So Stevie had to get stitches for it.
Wow. What kind of relationship is this?
A very insane one. Sorry, but I have to call it like I see it. Even through all this insanity, Jocelyn still wanted a commitment from Stevie J. On the season 2 finale, Stevie pulled what Jocelyn would call another one of his shenanigans. Stevie put on a huge scene with the piano and invited both Jocelyn and Mimi to a hotel suite. Then Stevie put a ring on Jocelyn's finger and then put a ring on Mimi's finger. And once again, as you saw on the show, all hell broke loose. Jocelyn went crazy and went crazy on Stevie while Mimi enjoyed her champagne, laughing.
That's how Stevie became the Lord of the Rings.
If Stevie was too afraid to commit, then he should have told Jocelyn that.
But then that would make too much sense, Rocky. This is Stevie J we're talking about here. Stevie putting rings on both Mimi and Jocelyn really hurt Jocelyn. And at the end, and at the season 2 reunion, everyone wondered if Stevie and Jocelyn were engaged. They even asked Stevie himself, but he wouldn't answer the question. He kept sidestepping it.
Just step left. And that's what Stevie did.
A very lateral move.
Then, about a month after the season 2 reunion had aired, I saw on YouTube both Stevie J and Jocelyn came on a radio show. I think it was called The Breakfast Club on YouTube. And they made the announcement that they were in fact married. That's right, Stevie J and Jocelyn announced that they got married in a courthouse.
When I heard this news, I was shocked, Ralph.
I was shocked too, Rocky. I mean, after all the sidestepping that Stevie was doing, after all the stunts and shenanigans that Stevie was pulling, I was just really convinced that Stevie just wasn't ready to give Jocelyn that commitment that she wanted so badly. And now they're on the radio show telling everyone that they're married.
I was in disbelief about this too, Ralph. 'Cause Stevie wanted both Jocelyn and Mimi. But Mimi was trying to hear none of that.
Yeah, that's what Stevie wanted and fantasized about, but it just wouldn't happen in reality. As season 3 of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta aired, it opened up with both Jocelyn and Stevie J telling everyone that they were married and they bought that mega huge house. They made a huge deal about it. Stevie and Jocelyn went as far as to throw a big party for their marriage. A lot of people were invited, including Stevie's special friend Arian and her friend Erica Dixon.
By the way, are real good friends of Mimi.
And the party was going good. Until Erica questioned Jocelyn about her marriage to Stevie J. Erica asked her when did they get married. Jocelyn answered, the end of July. Then Erica asked, you don't remember the date? And that made Jocelyn very pissed off, and she left the party early with the car and left Stevie there.
And when Stevie realized that Jocelyn took their car and left him there, he did the reasonable thing and got a ride with his friends. But instead of telling his friends to give him a ride home, Stevie said to Benzino and his friends to take him to a strip club. Wow, that's a real good place for a married man to go. Real nice, Stevie. Way to respect your wife.
Stevie J's first time being married. I don't think he would know how to act in a marriage.
He's being typical. Stevie J.
Well, common sense should tell him, oh yeah, this is Stevie J we're talking about. And when Stevie got to his house and Jocelyn's house, he and Jocelyn got into it. Jocelyn went off on Stevie because of his friends Arian and Erica questioning their marriage, and Jocelyn didn't appreciate that. Then they bickered about this and that, drinking. And we all know that Jocelyn drinks all the time. She doesn't need to be in no club.
And Stevie wanted some sex at night, but it was pretty obvious that he wasn't gonna get any that night, so he left.
Drama. Way to kick off a season of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. And that was just one of many fights that Jocelyn and Stevie would have this season. And what a marriage this is turning out to be so far.
And what do you think about the marriage of Stevie and Jocelyn in season 3? Ralph?
I think it was interesting and rocky at best. No pun intended. As we saw on the show, Stevie and Jocelyn butted heads on a lot of issues, including Stevie J's phone containing pictures of naked girls. This pissed off Jocelyn a lot, but they were still able to work things out.
But then, Jocelyn's ex-driver said to Benzino that he actually smashed Jocelyn while she was married to Stevie.
Ex-driver. Jocelyn's ex-driver.
Benzino told Stevie about all the cheating that Jocelyn had been recently doing. And as we all saw on the show, Stevie confronted Jocelyn about it.
And it seemed like a bitter breakup between the two. After they exchanged some harsh words, Jocelyn gave Stevie the rings. Stevie J took them, and even though it wasn't official, it looked like Stevie and Jocelyn had separated.
I think the separation was official. Ralph.
This scene was hard to watch. At least for me it was. It really felt like Stevie J and Jocelyn were dissolving their marriage. Damn, I actually felt bad for them.
It brought a tear to my eye.
Well, a lot can happen between the ending finale of a reality show and a reunion. And at the reunion for the 3rd season, the executive producer Stefan Springman interviewed both Stevie J and Jocelyn about their breakup. Then Stevie said that all he had to do was whip out. Then everything was real good between Stevie and Jocelyn again.
By whip out, Stevie means pulling out his beefcake, and it's pretty obvious what that is.
Okay, now, I think this is getting too graphic, Cece. Let's tone it down, okay?
Things are good between Stevie and Jocelyn, and their marriage is going good. So, let's just leave it at that.
their marriage, Ralph. People are really doubting that Stevie J and Jocelyn are really married.
That's right. And that's because of the claims of this woman right here, Dawn HEFLIN. Dawn HEFLIN is Jocelyn's Hernandez, former booking agent and manager. She would get Jocelyn places to perform at, like nightclubs, shows, publicized huge parties, etc. She would also help Jocelyn get a place to stay and paid for Jocelyn's bills, light and water bills. Things that are outside the realm of manager and booking agent. We saw Dawn HEFLIN in season 2 of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta.
When Jocelyn felt that Stevie was slacking on her career, Dawn was the one getting Jocelyn shows at that time. Ralph, when did Dawn first meet Jocelyn?
Dawn met Jocelyn through mutual friends 6 or 7 years ago. Dawn said in her interview with Vlad TV on YouTube that she saw Jocelyn trying to manage a little girl, so Dawn was showing Jocelyn how to do it.
Wow, it looks like all the stars of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta did interviews with Vlad TV. That must be a good popular series.
So, when did things start going south for Dawn and Jocelyn?
Towards the end of 2013, not surprisingly. 2013 was a bad year for a lot of people, I believe. Anyways, things started going south for when Jocelyn didn't show up for a show that Dawn had booked her on. Jocelyn had said that she was tired because she had just came from another city and she didn't show up to do the show that she was supposed to perform at. And that really hurt Dawn's business and her company's good name. And Jocelyn didn't even return the deposit that she was paid for the show that she was supposed to do. All this in Dawn's words, of course, when she did her interview with Vlad TV.
Was that the final straw for Jocelyn and Dawn?
No, the final straw came when Jocelyn was supposed to do a show in Detroit, but her flight was delayed and Jocelyn decided that she didn't want to do the show, and she didn't. And Jocelyn didn't even give the people their refund for not doing, that show in Detroit. And that was the last time that Dawn had heard from Jocelyn.
Jocelyn is claiming that Dawn HEFLIN is a scam artist. Is there any truth to that, Ralph?
According to Dawn, she was accused of that, but those charges were dropped. Dawn did get convicted of distribution of a heroin charge in 2002 from the feds, and she did do her time for that of 5 years. Dawn insists that her close friends know that she is not a scam artist.
She says she's not a scam artist. That is real reassuring.
So, what are the claims that Dawn HEFLIN is making about Stevie J and Jocelyn?
Dawn says that Stevie J and Jocelyn are living a lie. They're not really married because they can't produce a marriage certificate, and the house that Stevie and Jocelyn are living in is not their house. It's Johnny Cabell's house. In the third season of this show, Dawn backed her claims up with what appears to be some real compelling evidence. But since Stevie and Jocelyn insist that they are really married, the evidence that Dawn is presenting is circumstantial.
But when Mimi asked Stevie when he and Jocelyn got married, Stevie looked to be real confused about the date. And I can understand someone making a mistake. But the day you got married? Come on, Ralph.
First Stevie said it was on June 29th. Then he said it was on July 29th. Which is it? Mimi was saying from the beginning that Stevie's and Jocelyn's marriage was a fraud.
Dawn's claims may be circumstantial, but they're making a lot of sense.
More sense than the details of Stevie and Jocelyn's marriage.
So, what do you think, Ralph? Do you think that Stevie and Jocelyn are really married?
I really don't know what to think, Rocky. Yeah, you're definitely putting me on the spot here. When women just get married, they make a big deal about it. And Jocelyn did make a big deal about her marriage to Stevie. She showed everyone her ring, and she threw a party celebrating her marriage.
Oh yeah, a party. Celebrating her marriage. Not an actual wedding.
Since Stevie and Jocelyn are not providing a marriage license, people are doubting that they're really married.
But they don't have to show people their marriage license. But then again, their marriage should already be in public record.
Exactly, Ralph.
Dawn is also claiming that Jocelyn is doing illegal drugs like cocaine, and I have seen questionable videos of Jocelyn's erratic behavior. I even saw the one of Jocelyn in the recording booth rapping, and it seems like Jocelyn's not in the right state of mind.
Actually, Ralph, it looks like Jocelyn is on something. Like drugs. Cocaine.
That video of Jocelyn in the booth is very popular on YouTube. And I have to agree with Cece. Jocelyn is definitely on something. Like crack. Cocaine.
Y'all gotta keep it real. Ralph, y'all know that.
That video of Jocelyn in the booth is in the description section of this installment. I am a fan of both Stevie J and Jocelyn, but that video does not make Jocelyn look good at all.
In Nico's own words, cocaine is a hell of a drug. Ralph.
Well, I wouldn't know, Cece. Alright, let's move on and talk about this woman right here. Her name is Carole Antoinette Bennett. She's another one of Stevie J's many baby mamas. The website known as realityt.com reported in June of 2014 that Stevie J was arrested this month for owing over $1 million in back child support for his two minor children, aged 14 and 16, from a previous relationship with Carole Antoinette Bennett. Stevie, through his attorney, called the allegation preposterous. On November 13 of 2014, Carole Antoinette broke her silence about her ex-fiance, Stevie J's $1 million child support deficiency. Bennett did an interview with the Urban Daily Original, a website that reports news about celebrities. In that interview, Bennett said that she hadn't been the one pushing to go to court. It was Stevie that tried to go to court to not pay anything and has been denied twice. So basically, Bennett had just been feeling that the system has been failing her, and there was not much that she can do. Her kids are in high school. Her daughter just started high school, so they're preparing for college. It's time for saving. They have to make sure that they're not just prepared academically. They have to make sure that they're prepared financially as well. Carole Antoinette Bennett and Stevie had an agreement in the child support order that he would provide insurance, but nothing had been covered by Stevie for the last 12 or 13 years.
Wow, that's a long time, Ralph.
That's why he got arrested.
Does Carole Antoinette Bennett have a job?
The only thing that I could find was that Bennett is a former record executive.
With all the money that Stevie owes her, Carole doesn't need a job.
That's harsh, Cece.
But it's true, Rox.
When Stevie got arrested, it was Mona Scott Young who posted the $25,000 bail for her prized Stevie. It seems Stevie's true financial status has been in question for some time. In April, Mona, along with several producers and music industry execs and insiders who do business with Stevie, was subpoenaed by Project Child Support, a non-profit which aids custodial parents in seeking funds owed for child support, to determine his true income and revenue sources. Neither Jocelyn Hernandez nor Stevie responded to the summons requests. Therefore, they were both in violation with the court. PCS, Project Child Support, filed a petition on behalf of Carole to seize Stevie's assets from all of his revenue sources, including his L&HH:ATL paycheck, until his child support errors and fees were all paid in full.
I've been hearing the name. Mona Scott Young. Who is she? And how is she involved in this?
Mona Scott Young is the CEO of the multimedia entertainment company Mona Me Entertainment. She's one of the big producers of the reality TV series Love and Hip Hop.
Which one?
All of them. In addition to Love and Hip Hop, the film and television division of Mona Me Entertainment has produced the the spin-offs Chrissy and Mr. Jones, K. Michelle, My Life, and The Gossip Game, all on VH1. Mona Scott Young has been accused of a lot of cover-ups lately. According to a new report, Mona is so desperate to protect the Love and Hip Hop Atlanta brand, she is lying about her stars to keep them on the show. All of this is officially hearsay, of course.
And Stevie J is one of the stars that Young is protecting?
That's the rumor on the internet and YouTube. Okay, Jaguars, I think this is a real good stopping place for this review documentary.
Wow, this was a long one. Ralph.
Hey, I told you Stevie J is a real big subject. His world is very broad and complex, not to mention complicated.
Complicated doesn't begin to describe Stevie J's situation. I'm thinking more like mind-blowing. Especially with the way that Jocelyn and Stevie treat each other, with the cheating and all. I'm just wondering, what kind of relationship / marriage is this?
If they really are married.
So, you're doubting the marriage?
Aren't you?
My mind is blown from all of this, Cece. With all due respect to both Stevie J and Jocelyn, this whole thing is a big mess. I'm sorry. I hate to be harsh. Actually, let me take that back. I'm taking that back. I'm a proud fan of Stevie J and Jocelyn. I like their work. I like the songs and videos that they produce. It's epic stuff.
I think Jocelyn and Stevie J are very good at what they do. I'm also a fan.
Stevie J and Jocelyn are so mother effing epic.
Oh yes they are. And Jocelyn is one epic female. I like her. I'm not going to give them any advice. Stevie J is older than I am. He's more successful than I am. So I don't have room to talk. But I just hope that both Stevie J and Jocelyn will be more careful out there, because this universe is rough. So, this review documentary is obviously not over. We have about one more part to this that we need to cover, and we'll try to conclude this in part 3 of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta Review. Benzino versus Stevie J, part 3. Jocelyn's video in the booth and other website sources that we discussed will be in the description section / info bar of this video and installment of the series.
I like saying info bar.
We know. Cece. Peace out till later.